Hello and welcome to the unlisted section of Modern Broadcast. So I'm going to kind of use this unlisted section to do some sales, and we're actually going to be running a sale right now. This can be just a quick little showcase, kind of show a little bit of this, the handheld video. So might make some other videos of some other stuff that we have for sale on the website where we're just going to kind of showcase a little bit of everything. Not necessarily turned on because some of these devices I think have died. A lot of times when I get a handheld or a device, I end up just reviewing it for the channel and then I'm like, yeah, okay, we did it. And I set it on the shelf and it never gets touched again. So making room for 2025, we're going to sell a couple of those handhelds. And right now I think I have 21, maybe 22 handhelds listed here and completely surrounding me. So it's a bit precarious right now, but we're getting there. We're getting there. So let's go ahead and get started with just kind of the showcase and the showing off the handhelds, what's for sale, how much is each one, and get this video up and going and let me know what you're interested in. It is first come, first serve. These listings are mainly at a loss. A lot of these listings are either half off of retail or some of them even more, just depending on kind of the device itself or whatnot. And there's one device that's like over 50% off, and that's just because I think the device is stupid. So with that aside, let's go ahead and get started. The very first device that we have here is, let's get that in frame. There we go. The miniso. This is the miniso handheld, which we did when I traveled back to Iowa. This device, happened to see it on a shelf. It is a Famicom clone. It has, a lot of games packed in, but they are all homebrew and they are all mediocre. So $15 for the miniso rechargeable via Type-C, which is a huge surprise. And again, just a lot of NES games, but they are all homebrew. There's no way to add games to it or take games off. It's just as it comes. Great for the kiddos for the holiday season or birthdays, what have you. Very cheap device, and I think it was 30, so I just marked it at 15. So if you have an offer on this, I would go ahead and make one because I'd probably take it as long as you pay shipping. Up next, we have two out-of-print handhelds here. First being the Game & Watch Super Mario Brothers. So this one is opened. I do believe I have a sealed one somewhere. I was going to use these as giveaways for the channel, but I never got around to it. This one I did open and did test and just kind of play with. Like I said, if I find the sealed one in one of the boxes that's still from when we moved, I will ship that one, but this one is open. And then we also have a completely sealed Legend of Zelda one. So this is sealed. I have not opened this. Yeah, just they're Game & Watches. They were supposed to be collector items. I thought we'd do a giveaway. Never got around to it. So if NES styled little Game & Watch things, I think there's a way to add games to it. I never really got into that or messed with it, but it does have The Legend of Zelda, Zelda 2, and Link's Awakening on here. It also has some, like, clocks to use as an alarm clock, which is a weird choice, but Game & Watch, Legend of Zelda. Both of those are listed, they're both listed at $30. So $30, let's go ahead and get those on the screen again, like so. Look at that, $30 a piece. Again, they're out of print. They're not even making them anymore. There's a couple of resellers that have them up, but $30. Up next, we have the RG353M. So the M stands for metal. This is of the Anbernic series. Anbernic makes, cream of the crop handhelds, and the buttons feel great. They're mem pads. I've talked about this handheld. I reviewed this handheld on the channel. The one thing I did not like about this handheld is the volume down button. It doesn't really click. It was kind of defective. I opened up this handheld and kind of fixed it a little bit, but it still just feels a little squishy. It works better now. This is a great handheld for basically, I think, up to PlayStation 1. A lot of these handhelds are great up to PlayStation 1, but this is the 353M fully metal shell and nice purple too. This is the only handheld that's purple, which I thought about keeping it because of that. It's whatevs. So this is the 353M, which is a full metal shell from Anbernic. The buttons feel great. They feel nice. This console can play up to, I think some Dreamcast, was working on this. And then the one thing that was wrong with this in my unboxing is that the down button is just a little squishy. I don't really know how to define that. It just isn't right. I even opened up this device and separated it a little bit, which made it better. Now it doesn't stick. It was sticking and holding the volume down. So that at least has been cured, but it's still very... I don't know. For that, Anbernic does make a very good console. I love Anbernic on this channel, and reviewing there, you just can't beat those buttons. I don't know. I don't know how else to describe it. Anyways, but for that down arrow, $40 for the 353M, which is a hell of a price for an Anbernic handheld that is fully metal. So give it a shot. Here is the 351M. So this one was kind of introduced in between the 351 MP and the 353 that we just saw, the purple one. This is out of print. They don't make this handheld. Even when trying to look this up, it was kind of hard to find. I found it on AliExpress. This handheld right here has the perfect screen size to do Game Boy Advance upscaled. So it is an older chip. This is rocking the, well, you don't care about that, but basically this can play up to, again, some PlayStation 1, but the screen size itself is absolutely perfect for upscaling Game Boy Advance games and Game Boy games. So if that is your jam, I strongly recommend this handheld. This is, again, another full metal shell, perfect, buttons once again with that membrane. The the sticks click in, however. The volume rocker is actually like a scroll up and down, which is nice. And this one does have Wi-Fi capabilities. The 351P did not, but the 351M did have Wi-Fi. The P had a problem with the Wi-Fi module and it was not working. So again, if you are into Game Boy Advance, I strongly recommend this, and we're selling this for $50. Up next, we have from the budget series. This is the RG35XX Plus. I thought I had gotten the new RG35XX. Their whole model of selling these when these were coming out was very confusing, and I accidentally bought the RG35XX Plus. I was taking this to work every day. This was in my work bag, and in between meetings or in between when I was waiting for a meeting to start, I would just pop this out, play some Pokemon, play some NES games on here. The RG35XX, you'll see there's a couple handhelds, that same chipset that's in this handheld. I'm a big fan. It, again, plays up to PlayStation. You could probably get some Nintendo 64 out of these handhelds, especially the later models, but strongly recommend the 35XX and that line. It's budget series. You can't go wrong with it. Dual SD cards, and just a great handheld overall. On the budget series, this is $30 that we're selling it for. $30 for the 35XX Plus. Again, for handheld gaming, this is another of the budget series-ish. This is a little bit more expensive. This is the Anbernic RG35XX SP. Again, it is on the budget series still. I'm selling this one only for $40, but this is styled after the Game Boy Advance SP. Styled after the Game Boy Advance SP. So once this came out, I'm going to zoom out just a tad here. There we go. Once this bad boy came out, this became my go-to taken to work every day as the clamshell device. Nice fat square was going in my work bag. It was just smaller. The screen was protected automatically with that clamshell device. Again, really handles up to some Nintendo 64. Okay, not everything. Dreamcast works pretty good on this device. And solid. This used to be, in my opinion, the king of 2024 for handhelds. So again, we're selling the RG35XX SP for $40 for those that are interested. Here's a bit of an odd one. I don't trust this device. I don't trust it at all. This is a game power bank, which is a 10,000 milliamp hour power bank. But it's also a gaming device. This is how it came, exactly like this. On the back, you can connect your phone to it. It will charge your device. I've tested it, but I would not have this charge my phone or my devices without me being present. You could also use the Type-C here. Oops, there we go. The Type-C connector here to charge with a cable if that's what's needed. It also has a micro USB that you can also do the same. But yeah, you basically turn it on off, and where is the game mode? So I mean, there you have it. You just slide that on. I hit the power. I just hit the button here to test how much juice it had. It doesn't have much juice right now. Again, these handhelds pretty much kind of just sit on the shelf after I do reviews, but it plays arcade games. It Game Boy Advance, not well. Anyways, mainly this is Powerbank if that's something that you're looking for, but a little bit of gaming on the side here. We're selling this for 20 bucks. I think we bought it at like 40 or maybe even 50. So just selling it for 20 bucks. It comes with the box exactly as is. I will put some padding in there so that way, you know, it doesn't jostle around in shipment, and hopefully gets to you nice and safe. But this has gained a lot of attraction on the channel. A lot of people are interested in this, but I don't trust it. Taking a look at that is the RGB 350. This handheld is old, it is outdated, but it still is a solid rocker. Up to PlayStation 1, you're not really going to get anything out of this other than PlayStation 1 being the max, so all the way up there. It does have Type-C connectors up here at the top. It does have an HDMI out. It's an HDMI mini, so you would need an adapter for that, but just a solid rocker. And as you see, they kind of stuck with this design all the way through. They're still coming out with this design even on the RG405M. They just slightly adjusted a little bit, swapped the D-pad and the thumbstick, and the 405 is on this list. Will be near the end as that's more of a premium handheld. But this right here, I watched videos on this. I took this on planes. This was my first introduction to the Anbernic line, even though the first Anbernic device that we reviewed on the channel was the 351MP. This was my introduction to Anbernic, and they knocked it out of the park. That full aluminum body, so nice, kept me coming back and getting each handheld afterwards. You can't go wrong with this. With it being older, we do mark this at 40 bucks. Again, solid PlayStation performance out of this handheld with that nice 4:3 aspect ratio screen. It does have a big bezel of Anbernic, but it's got a screen protector installed. Might need a new one. It's seen some action, but it's not bad. Very light scratches on the screen protector, not on the screen itself, on the screen protector, so it's safe. Yeah, strongly recommend if you're looking for just getting some PlayStation out of this and want a premium handheld. 40 bucks for the RGB 350. Here's a little bit of another of an oddity, and more so of just kind of nostalgia. This is the retroflag GPI case, and inside here is a Raspberry Pi Zero 2W, I believe, I think is what we put in this one. I'd have to unscrew it to make sure, but I know no, this is just the Raspberry Pi Zero. That's all that's in here. So the Raspberry Pi Zero is what's in here, and basically it plugs in right here, it turns on. But for those that want that nostalgia feel, it does take AA batteries. These are rechargeable. These would be not included, just because as shipping might get a little antsy about that. But 3 AA batteries, I strongly recommend rechargeable batteries here. But this plays up to, I would say, some PlayStation. This is more, you know, a nostalgia device. Complete customization with that Raspberry Pi Zero. So if you're a tinkerer, you like to mess with things, you like to play with things, you can get custom background music, all sorts of things. The volume rocker is right here. We also have a contrast, make it, you know, dark, bright, however you feel. And also it has L1 and R1 back here. They blend in with the design of the shell. So if you want a nice nostalgia handheld that has some heft, that's a nice little brick, I strongly recommend the retroflag GPI case. And also if you love tinkering. Little side bonus, I was making a game for Game Boy called Everstar, and I went ahead and I made a sticker for this and put it on here just as a little Easter egg. Oh, I forgot to mention the GPI case is 30 bucks. $30 for the GPI case for those that are interested in a nostalgia device. This one is so cool to me. I really like this handheld. I don't know why. It's a bit odd, and I think that's part of why I like it so much. I was going to put a ton of just Sega. This was going to be my Sega handheld because it's designed after a Sega controller. I was going to load it up with a ton of Genesis games. I see one of Miles's hairs in there. There we go. Got it out. But it's styled after a Genesis controller. So I was going to load it up with Genesis, Sega CD, Sega Saturn, even some Sega Dreamcast. This is a fairly powerful handheld for what it is. But if you are a Sega fan, this is for you. Really. So this is called the Arc D. I'm selling it for $30. $30, a nice, ginormous, vivid screen. And again, if you are interested in just loading up a bunch of Sega games, this is going to play perfect with these six front-facing buttons. But it does play everything else in between. So if you want to load it up with Game Boy, Game Boy Color, Advance, Nintendo, stuff like that, whatever, it can do it all. But really, with those buttons and with this design, you're going to want Sega on here. Remember, Sega does what Nintendo don't. $30 for the Arc D. Feel like I'm in the land of oddities. So this here is the RGNano. I bought this more as a gag, and then I've actually kind of fell in love with it. It's powerful enough to play PlayStation games, which is insane. I don't recommend that on this device because it is so tiny. I mean, there's my index finger, and my index finger is nearly longer than it. Here it is with next to a pin. It's smaller than a pin. So this is the RGNano. One vibrant color shell, also completely aluminum. This is a premium little kind of gag gift, but I've played Pokemon Gold on here for a long time. It's not the most comfortable thing to do, but it is doable. Let's see if we can get this on. Here we go. Let's zoom in on that. I mean, the screen is just vibrant. The case is a nice red aluminum shell, which is just gorgeous. It's actually quite loud with the speaker, the mono speaker here down at the bottom. And yeah, really not much else to this device. It does take a second to boot up. There we go. So it did take a second there. I did actually just restart it, but came preloaded with a bunch of games. And for such a tiny screen, it's actually very readable. Anyways, I love this little device. It is quite expensive, retail new. I am selling it for $40. I know that's still quite a bit for what it is. Again, I mean, here is a USB flash drive, and it's a little bit bigger than that, but not by much. So basically selling it at half, $40 for the RGNano, excuse me. RGNano. For all my old school handheld gamers out there, this is the GPDXD. This used to be king for a long time. If you were into handheld emulation, Android devices, this was your guy. As you see, this is very dusty. This is very outdated. It still uses a micro USB to charge, but it does have HDMI out and, L1, L2, R1, R2. I've kept it in good condition. It is dusty. I would clean it and also boot this up. And see, it's going to be outdated Android. It's going to be pretty much used to PlayStation. This was the king for a long, long time. And it has been dethroned. And again, I wouldn't expect much out of this at all. I am going to charge it up and test it out and get it kind of running good, maybe with some updates, because I'm sure it's quite outdated. But for it being so outdated and old, we're marking this as $20. I don't know if anyone's looking for a GPDXD, but if you are, here one. Going back to Anbernic, this is the Anbernic RG552. This handheld, I remember when I bought this, it was very expensive for what it was. I hate this handheld. Just gonna call that out right away. I absolutely hate this handheld. After I was done with the review, I tried messing with it for about a week and I gave up and said, I'm done with it. I hate it. It's an Android device. I did not like this experience. They have since come out with custom firmware, and I think that would definitely be worth your time. If you want, I can install custom firmware on this handheld if you do buy it, which hopefully will make it a better experience. There's also different apps out there that can take over and be the default front end. I strongly recommend that. I'm giving this device a lot of hate. It is big. It is absolutely ginormous. It is a plastic shell. It does have Wi-Fi, it does have Bluetooth, does have an HDMI mini port out. It has 2 USB Type-Cs. On paper, I like this device. In practice and in my experience with it, I did not like this device. This is when I kind of decided, yeah, Ambernick can miss. They can. And this was it for me. It does have 2 stereo speakers down at the bottom, a vent on the back. With how much hate I have for this device, I am selling it at a great price. Get this off my shelf, please. This is $40. $40 for the RG552, which is a steal. I looked it up. It's still like a $200 device. I don't know why it's a $200 device. It deserves to not be a $200 device, but $45 or $40. I'm sorry, $40. You know what? Just make me an offer. Make me an offer. I hate this thing. So I think this one's cheating a little bit, but it technically makes your phone a handheld. So this is the Razer Kishi. This controller is amazing. This is the first version. There is a second version out now, but this is the Razer Kishi, and what it does has these 2 little latches here. You pull that, there you go. You take your Type-C phone, you put it in there, stretch this out so it fits over your phone, and then it pairs up your phone. There is no Bluetooth connection needed because that Type-C there then powers this controller. It also has a pass-through Type-C on the bottom, and will charge your phone up in case you need phone battery, what have you. But it does have an Xbox button. You could do Xbox Game Pass, play Xbox games on here using your phone or your Type-C device. And sturdy controller. It's a little bit wobbly since I don't have a phone in there right now. I have an iPhone. I still have the old 13, so I have the lightning charge. I don't have a Type-C phone, so I can't demonstrate it, but phenomenal handheld. And when you're done, you just put it together like that, and then on the back, push that down, stays all together as one. We're selling the Kishi controller. Kishi controller is $20. $20 for the Kishi controller. If you have emulators on your phone, or if you just like playing Call of Duty Warfare on your phone, this is a must-have. Back to handhelds, we have the Retroid Pocket 3. So this is not the 3 Plus, for those that might ask. This is just the regular 3. We do have a micro SD card slot in there. I bought this for the color, actually. I really enjoyed the color of this device. I had the Retroid Pocket 2, and I hated that handheld. I did not like its form, feel, and then the 3 came out, and I was looking at it, and I decided to finally do it, and I like this device. And actually, right now, I'm messing with the Retroid Pocket Mini, and the 5 is on its way, but the Mini is my favorite handheld currently. Retroid is doing it right. They're listening to the people reviewing it, they're listening to their customers, and they're absolutely killing it, and I think they are probably one of the better companies out there right now. They also, when they ship brand new, they don't have any games shipping with their handhelds, which is very responsible. I'm actually a fan of that. I know a lot of people off. But this is the Retroid Pocket 3. It is an Android device. It handles a lot. I think it even was handling some GameCube in my testing. Not a lot. You're going to have to play like the easier titles and whatnot. But this was definitely one of those that I was highly impressed with. It's also upgradable. If you go to the Retroid Pocket website, you can get the internals, open this up, for the Retroid Pocket 3 Plus. For those that are wanting more high performance and wanting to upgrade, you can. It's an option, but the Retroid Pocket 3 is a great handheld in my opinion, and I really like this. It's been sitting on the shelf since I purchased it. Sorry, I keep forgetting to do this. The Retroid Pocket 3 we are selling for $60 for the Retroid Pocket 3. Another budget handheld, we have the Powkiddy RGB 30. This is an interesting handheld. I picked this one up because of its design and its color green. And in my review of this, I'll have a little little blip blop up here of these handhelds that were reviewed on the channel, but I picked this up because it's green. That's still true. The ginormous square screen is actually quite nice, actually. And this I was taking with me to work and taking with me on the go just because of how flat it is. It was comfortable, a nice enough screen. And I was playing a lot of DS on here. I was playing Pokemon Heart Gold and Soul Silver on here and Fire Emblem for the DS. This is actually powerful enough to handle quite a bit. I was surprised based on its somewhat plasticky, kind of cheap feeling. This was part of the budget series. And our Powkiddy that we're selling here, the RGB 30, we're selling for $35. So $35 for the Kitty RGB 30. I was getting out our holiday decorations this year, and I came across this box, and this was in my garage. I have no idea. I didn't even know I owned this, to be honest. I probably bought it for the budget series, and then I just never reviewed it whatsoever. This is the Powkiddy Q90. I have no idea anything about this device. It is cheap plastic. It's got a very gross feeling thumbstick here. So I don't know what runs on here, what doesn't. It does have a replaceable lithium battery here. This is the BP4L battery, so it should last quite a few hours. I have no idea what's on here or whatnot. I never actually reviewed this. Looks like we have 2 speakers on the back here and a Type-C charge port for the top of it. I marked it for 20 bucks. It's definitely one of the budget series handhelds that I just never got around to reviewing. And I think, just as a forewarning, it looks like the battery might be puffing a little bit. So I will probably ship this without a battery. So you will need to get a new battery just because battery puffs like that, you don't want that. That's bad. It could explode, especially with shipment. I don't like that, but I can feel the edges here. So this is going to be without a battery if we ship this. I'll plug it in and test it out and see. I'm just gonna say 20 bucks. Just a nice, simple, easy 20 bucks and free shipping is on it. It comes with everything, which is nice. Comes with the bag, comes with the box. And a lot of these handhelds that I do have everything for. They're just off camera. So a lot of these will have the original box or some form of packaging for you. So let's see. It says, right here, it says it supports arcade, Game Boy Advance, NES, Super Nintendo, and Sega games. So it looks like you get up to Game Boy Advance with this. I don't know how well because I never actually reviewed it. So yeah, the Powkiddy Q90. Now on to the handheld, which is why my Retroid Pocket 3 didn't get so much love, and that is this guy right here. This is the Anbernic RG405M. I love this handheld, and I'm okay if this doesn't sell. It's got a 4:3 aspect ratio screen here that's nice and big. No big bezel around it, just a nice thin black one. This handles GameCube beautifully. It can't do every title, but it does a lot of them. It can do PS2. Again, not all of them, but a good chunk of them. This is an expensive premium product here. It's, again, a full metal alloy shell around it. This handheld is still going for over $200. I have mine marked at $100. Again, kind of that half off mark. A little bit more than half off, but $100 for the 405M. If you're looking for something that can kind of do it all, in my opinion, that is this guy right here. So 405 by Anbernic, premium product. So we're definitely into the expensive side of things right now. So we're talking more than $100 for the next couple handhelds that I have here. So just fair warning. Here we have that can focus. And let's zoom out. Yep, that's in. Let's zoom out just a tad. So this is the Analogue Pocket. For those of you that don't know, Analogue is a super premium, in my opinion, somewhat ridiculous company that redoes gaming consoles. They've done Nintendo, Sega, Super Nintendo, things like that. I think they're working on the Nintendo 64 one now. But this is my original Analogue Pocket Game Boy. Oops. It has been modified, so it can play Nintendo, Super Nintendo, Genesis, TurboGrafx 16, all that stuff off the micro SD card. I did modify the software so that way it can do that. But otherwise, it plays regular Game Boy Color, Game Boy Advance, and Game Boy games right there in the back. This is a real premium thing. I don't take my Analogue Pocket with me on the go, and that's why I'm getting rid of this one. I end up picking up, they came out with the green kiwi one, and I had to pick it up because it's green, and I have a green fascination, I guess. So I figured it's probably a good time to get rid of our black one here. This is the best way to play those games. I would just be extremely careful with it if you take it on the go with you. So I do have the box. I have everything that came with it. I think a charge cable. I think I have stationed elsewhere. Oh yeah, it's right there. Okay. I have a charge cable for it. It is Type C. Very nice product. We are selling ours for $120. This is a $400 console, or I think it's like $350 or something like that. So $120 is what we're selling our analog pocket for. It is out of print. I do not think you can get an analog pocket now. I could be wrong on that. Or maybe by the time you see this video, that's the case where you cannot get an analog pocket anymore. So we're selling ours for $120. $120 for a analog pocket. Last but not least, we have probably the stupidest product and the most expensive product on this video, and that is the GPD Win 3. So this is a Windows device, again called the GPD Win 3. And oh man, I remember being so excited when this was announced. I bought it when it was announced and it came out. This is a Windows handheld. You slide up, there's your whole touch keyboard. It works actually fairly well. GPD tries to make the most premium product possible. This handheld is over $1,000. And they've come out now with the Win 4 and the Win Max and all that type of stuff, like Win Max 2 or whatever. This handheld is still like over $800. It's dumb. So we're not selling ours for that much. We're not selling ours for anywhere near that. This handheld is absolutely stupid. And no, we are selling ours for $200. It is a Windows device. I don't recommend Windows in a handheld. GPD did a good job with it, especially this is way before the Steam Deck. This is way before the ROG Ally and the Ally X and all the handhelds we have now. GPD did it first, and they did it good. It is a touchscreen. This would definitely be, I think, more worth it in my opinion if you put a custom software on here. You got rid of the Windows side of things. It just, Windows isn't great on handhelds in my opinion, and I know that's not a popular take, as some of you have commented in the comment section down below. I think this would be better with Bazit software, and then it would be more like a Steam Deck, and I think it would just operate better than with the Windows on it. It is quite heavy. You can switch between, if you leave it default, you have a micro SD card slot here, but you can switch between mouse mode, where this acts as a mouse and you click, or game mode, where this becomes a gamepad and you play your games on it as such. It does have a fingerprint sensor right here. This is great also, like if you're wanting to maybe edit on the go or like OBS on the go, you could do so, and you could plug in a hub for up here. It does charge via Type-C. You can also put it in a dock and then have HDMI out that way through that Type-C port. It does have programmable buttons on the back, one on each side, and you have nice triggers, and these are actually analog triggers, which I think is phenomenal. I love analog triggers. I prefer them than the tactile ones, but you know. So we are selling this ridiculous GPD Win 3. We're selling it for $250. Again, I don't think this is going to sell. It retails right now for $800. If you want a custom software on it, just let me know. I'll put a custom software on it, or I'll just leave it stock as is. It does have Windows, I think it's Windows 11, right? I'm pretty sure Windows 11. This doesn't tell me. I'd have to charge it and boot it up. But it's basically a portable laptop that plays games. So it handles really well, to be honest, and it's just ridiculously expensive. So let me know in the comments section, or shoot me a message, DM me if you're interested in any of these handhelds, what you're interested in, and let's talk. So long video done. Thanks so much. We'll talk soon. Take care.